What is mission control? Before we get all involved with creating incidents and configuring roles, we really need to take a step back and consider what mission control is and why we would upgrade our Security Center system to mission control. When considering what was needed to improve Security Center, we took a look at the current state of detection, response, and analysis of events and incidents that happen in a security environment and how we handle them in the Security Center platform. When considering the detection of security incidents, are the system events sufficient to recognize what is going on? So, can an operator look at the events coming in and know what's really happening at the scene of the incident? Are the operators dealing with too many events and alarms? This could lead to sensory overload, and a vital event or alarm may slip past unnoticed if there's too much to analyze in the interface. How do we structure the unstructured incoming data? We could be getting a lot of events coming in, so how do we know which ones are relevant to other events? We could have just gotten a door forced open event, but was there a previous event showing that the cardholder was denied access? Not everything is connected to an input sensor on a security device, so how do we track and report personnel-triggered incidents? How can we alert operators of an incident such as a lost child or a bag left unattended? These are all important questions when looking at how we recognize incidents, which leads to more questions on how we respond to them. Do we facilitate proactive response planning? Meaning, do we have something in place to help set procedures on how to deal with events when they happen, and not just react to an incident? Can we go beyond traditional alarm management? Alarms are pretty flexible and can be used in different ways to alert operators of a problem, but what more can we do to expand the use and functionality of an alerting system like that? Does threat level management allow for a complete response? We can do a lot in terms of alerting people and performing actions when modifying threat levels on a system, but does it do everything? How are personnel-triggered incidents managed? We may be able to trigger an alarm or set a threat level for the lost child or abandoned baggage, but do we know who is looking into the problem? What happens if this leads to something bigger like a bomb threat? How can we react to that? Finally, a big part of this is analysis. The only way to know how to deal with a problem better the next time is if you can see how you dealt with it in the past. How do our customers solve or close incidents? Do the resolution tracking methods contain all the information they need? Do we offer the right toolset to evaluate response efficiency or audit actual responses? Can a security administrator look at the incidents after the fact and tell how well their team did at responding to the problem, and who was involved at the different stages of the response? And last, how do we help customers continually improve? What kind of information are we giving them, and how can they use it to streamline their security processes to better respond to incidents? When considering this information and what can be done with the existing alarms, threat levels, and event-to-action processes in Security Center, we determined we needed something else for larger organizations that deal with a lot of data and incidents on a daily basis. Mission Control was not created as a plugin or software module along the same lines as Omnicast or Synergis, but rather as an upgrade of the Security Center system itself to become a decision support system. It has been built on top of the Security Center platform for better integration than just using the existing plugin modules, and to take advantage of the existing video, access control, and map managing components. We're going to talk a lot about incidents in this video series, so I just want to pause to talk about what we mean when we use that term, and clarify the difference from the existing use of the term in Security Center. Currently, an incident is a collection of events and entities, such as specific cameras and doors, that are attached to an incident report and sorted under a category. These incidents can be searched for later using the Incidents task, where we can filter the report based on some of the information provided, such as the category or one of the attached reference entities. While useful, these type of incidents have more of a bookkeeping functionality and are not as useful for actually managing what to do while there's an ongoing security event happening on site. An incident in Mission Control can be defined as a situation that requires actions in order to be resolved. Incidents can have conditions that need to be met before it is triggered, and can have a workflow that changes various incident parameters or triggers other actions while the incident is in progress. For example, we could only want to trigger an incident if we had an access denied event and then had a door forced open event within 30 seconds of the previous event. The workflow could be configured to change the priority of the incident when somebody was actively investigating the situation and send an email once the incident has been resolved. The sources of the events that trigger the incident can be set to specific entities, like the main lobby door, or can be applied to any entity that can send that event. Incidents can be triggered automatically using the event conditions we mentioned, but we could also trigger them manually if needed. An incident can be managed by multiple operators at different times and have states to indicate the progress in the handling of the situation. Operators are given a list of procedures to follow, which can be configured to be done in a strict order or in any order, and can include prompts for information as well as provide documents to review, such as a list of dispatch phone numbers or an image of known suspects. These procedures help guide operators in responding to incidents based on what has happened and the current state of the investigation. For example, we may have a door at an airport that leads out to the tarmac, and it has a crash bar installed with a door sensor. We could get an event that the crash bar was pushed and the door was opened. Did someone go through? Was it a false alarm due to someone leaning on it accidentally? Is there someone out on the tarmac now who shouldn't be there? These are all questions that can be put in procedures for the operator who is handling the incident to verify and provide more information if needed. If there's any kind of case management being done, this helps provide response information since everything that is done in the incident is recorded and timestamped. For example, if an administrator wants to see how long it took for an operator to take ownership of an incident after it was created, they could see that from the list of activities. They could also note who took ownership in case they wanted to follow up on any of the incident details for their case. A typical Security Operations Center, or SOC, would have a list of standard operating procedures, or SOPs, that indicate what actions should be taken to respond to different kinds of situations. Traditionally, this could be a series of binders with sheets of paper for each kind of incident and the steps to follow, and would have been managed by a small team of people. However, this can lead to a problem if there are a limited number of people who know how to respond to incidents or have all the knowledge needed to adequately deal with a situation. What happens if this knowledge is always handled by the same two people, but one of them is on vacation and the other is called in sick for the day? The remaining operators would be unsure how to handle an incident that's not within their usual day-to-day activities, and their judgment may be hindered by an emotional response or the stress of the situation. This is where Mission Control comes in, as it is more than just a list of standard operating procedures, and it manages more than just the events that come in and alarms that are triggered. Now, this doesn't mean we just take those binders of information and throw them out the window, since those are procedures that have been tested and have been modified to best handle a situation. These SOPs that are currently in use can be entered into Mission Control as the basis of our procedures to help track and guide the security operators' responses. Having the procedures being given directly from the security desk and prompting for further information helps remove emotion from the situation and improves the efficiency and consistency of the operator's responses. Further down the line, Mission Control will have dynamic procedures that will adapt to input and procedure responses from the operators to provide a flexible solution to a potentially variable incident. The Mission Control component has been designed to typically be used with larger sites with a lot of events and incident information coming in, where it would benefit the operators who are trying to recognize and handle these incidents as they come in. The clients would probably already have a unified security center system in place, and a security operations center that has been dealing with the incidents in a more traditional fashion or using a PSIM. A PSIM is a physical security integrated management system, which is usually a very expensive and complex custom solution that runs on scripts and doesn't have the same graphical interface or unified integration that Mission Control has. Mission Control is not considered a PSIM, but instead is considered a DSS, or Decision Support System. There are some similarities between PSIMs and Mission Control, such as having a single operator interface, common operational tools like procedures, and would be used by the same type of client, such as airports, universities, or casinos. There are a few critical differentiators, however. First and foremost is that pSIMs integrate at the presentation layer and are just sort of sitting on top of or to the side of an existing system. Mission Control is fully integrated with Security Center and is part of the unified solution. pSIMs are mostly designed to be compatible with one system and one version, which makes management difficult if the version changes. With Mission Control, we know it's going to be compatible with Security Center, even if there are upgrades to be done. Support of the system is also an issue, since it will have been designed by a separate third-party vendor than the main surveillance system. Mission Control support goes along with Security Center, so any problems all go to one place for a solution. pSIMs are usually highly customized and complex software solutions that are made for one particular client, whereas Mission Control runs on the Security Center platform, which is used by tens of thousands of systems. From a budget perspective, Mission Control is a lot cheaper than what you'd have to pay for an equivalent pSIM, since it's not a custom build and can be installed and configured right off the shelf. Taking a look at the reporting features, Mission Control can also help streamline the efficiency of the security force, helping the administrators see where possible problems or delays may occur in the incident procedures, or even help with deployment. For example, looking at an airport with 3 different terminals that have independent security personnel patrolling in each, we could see that there are not enough people in Terminal A to deal with the daily incidents that typically occur in that terminal. Looking at Terminal B, there are significantly less incidents, but they have the same number of people on security duty. The administrator could reassign people from B over to A as needed to balance out the workload based on the incidents. The administrators could continue to monitor the situation and move people around as needed based on the daily incident trends, instead of having to hire more people for Terminal A and have inactive people in Terminal B. Past incidents can be viewed in the reporting task with all the details, so the administrators can look at the big picture in terms of the number of incidents per location and how many critical versus high priority incidents, all the way down to a granular level of who responded to a particular procedure step, how long it took them to do so, and what kind of details were given in the comments. From an operator's perspective, Mission Control is best used in a multi-monitor environment. A good setup would be a 4-monitor workstation, where one monitor would be used for the monitoring task or general use, and the other 3 can be used to separate the parts of the new incident monitoring task. We can start separate incident monitoring tasks for each of the 3 monitors, and then use the options to limit what each one shows. For example, we could have our main monitor on the bottom left, where we would have our monitoring and alarm monitoring tasks running. On the monitor above that, we could put an incident monitoring task for our Plan Manager map that's in use for the incident. We would want to go into the options, choose Map Only, and uncheck the Show Dashboard option. On the top right monitor, we could decide to put our incident list. Opening a new incident monitoring task in that monitor, we can again go to the options, turn off the Show Dashboard option, but this time we're choosing List Only. Our 4th monitor on the bottom right could be where we want to view the dashboard, which contains the details of the incident and the list of activities and procedures. The easiest way to do this is to have List Only and Show Dashboard checked, and then drag the 4 dots here all the way over on the side of the screen. These options give us a lot of flexibility, such as another example using a 2-monitor setup, where we could put an incident monitoring task with Map Only selected on one screen, and the list and dashboard on the second screen.